If we look at the building that I drew already, we see that the doors on this wall and the door on this wall don't make any sense at all. Proportionally speaking, they do not look like they belong to the same building. So I'm going to show you a really easy trick to make sure that your proportions are matching up. So if I could get all eyes up on the screen, I would appreciate that. So I'm lined up to my ruler. I'm lined up to my vanishing point. My ruler is lined up with the top of the smaller doors. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little dot right here on the corner of the building. Everyone see that? That's my marker. That's my scale. So now if I use my T-square on the left side here and line up to that mark, that is the scale that my door should be on this particular building to match, or this wall to match the other wall. Okay, so that's a little trick for making sure that as you wrap a corner, your proportions are making sense. Another thing I want to show you is windows, because some of you attempted this, and I want to make sure you're drawing them correctly. First of all, windows aren't placed sporadically. They're placed in a pretty standard height from one room to another to another. And so we can actually draw them in sets. If that's something that you want to do, I just want to make sure you draw it correctly. If this is a building that has 2 stories, I would probably have some windows on both of those stories. So I could draw a window here on the sidewall using orthogonal lines, and I could draw another set up top at what would be considered an upper story. So the top and the bottom of all these windows should be aligned with one another and with the vanishing point. So the sides of them now, I just simply need my T-square to draw some vertical lines. And I can draw them in sets. Let me show you. Now, with a little bit of erasing, don't need that last one. I now have a whole set of windows that all look like they belong together. They look like they're part of the same building, and they don't look like they were just thrown up randomly on the wall. Okay? Now, talking about doing a triangular roof, just a real basic roof. There's lots of different ones you can do, but I wanted to show you a real simple one. If I'm going to do a triangular roof on my front-facing wall, I need to know how wide the wall is. This one is 3.5 inches, so the middle of that's at 1.5. I'm going to use that as the point of my triangle. And then I'm just going to line up with my corners of that wall. So that's the front-facing part. The side-facing part of that roof is going to be an orthogonal, believe it or not. It's going to get smaller as it moves back in space. How far back and how do we end it? Well, this is one of those things where we have to just create a parallel line. We have to create a line parallel to that line right there. And that's going to be the back of my building. A couple other little things. Some of you have been interested in doing siding of different kinds. I'm not requiring this. I just want to show you how to do it if it's something that you choose to. If I'm doing siding on a front-facing wall, I'm using horizontal lines. Let's say it stops there. If I am doing this similar type of siding on a side-facing wall, it should line up at the corners, and it should line up with my vanishing point. And some people want to know how to draw brick. Let me show you that. It's super easy. I like to do a little technique I call draw skip. I'm going to move my straight edge up and down to about 1/2 of a brick's width or a block's width, and I'm going to draw, skip, draw, skip. Another 1/2 of a brick, skip, draw, skip, draw. skip, draw. Draw, skip. Draw, skip. Skip, draw. Skip, draw. I would continue this all the way over. These are pretty large brick, but you get the idea. And I want to think about how I intersect with the corner. That's important. As I come to this corner, if this is a half of a brick, then this should be a whole brick. So I'm going to skip the first row. Draw, skip. So that's the same brick on that corner, or same block. Proportionally, these are pretty big, but I wanted to draw them large enough for you guys to be able to see what I was getting at. You do not have to do this level of detail on your building, but if it's something that adds to your vision and you would like to have it, then I want you to have the tools to draw it correctly. Okay?